And welcome back to Game Escape, here today to review Hokuto no Ken, released in 2007 by Sega and produced by Arc System Works for the PlayStation 2. Now, in English this is Fist of the North Star, and there have been a lot of Fist of the North Star games, actually, ranging all the way back to the Sega Genesis, Super Famicom, and most recently a Dynasty Warriors style game. I believe it was called Ken's Rage, and that was out on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. But this game is a 2D fighting game, very much in the style of Guilty Gears or Persona 4 Arena. You know, it is that battle system that has been cultivated over the years by Arc System Works. And to me, this is the best Hokuto no Ken game that I have ever played. And of course, the anime and the manga series itself, I think, lends itself best to a 2D fighting game. Now, this game came out somewhat later in the life of the PS2. It was an arcade game, came out in 2005 in the Japanese arcades, and I actually believe it was released here in North America, but at that point I couldn't even find an arcade, so I never played it in that format. Released in 2007 for the PS2, and this was one of the games that got me into importing and modding my PS2 so I could play Japanese releases. I sort of remember hearing about this online, and a lot of people really praising this game for its art style and its fighting system. And it was ultimately about a year later, in 2008, when I decided, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to import this game and figure out how to mod my PS2. And I was able to do that, and I was really treated to a terrific 2D fighting game. Now, I have to say that I am not really a fan of the Arc System Works approach to fighting games generally. I think they are the underlying mechanics are overly complex. They typically have all these different meters and different things that you have to balance in a fight, and that is very much the case here, although this was kind of early on in the evolution of these games, and I think it's not as intrusive as it is in some of the later games. So mechanically, the focus of this game is really on a couple of things. I think, first of all, very simply, each character has a lot of quarter circle or double quarter circle plus button input moves. Some moves are more timing based, some moves have that sort of Z pattern joystick motion like you would find in the Street Fighter series. It also focuses pretty heavily on counters. You have these counter moves that you can sort of time and execute. If you hit a counter move, it will really almost stun a player. There are also some really, hard blows that will do the same thing, so you can kind of stifle your opponent when he's getting into that combo situation. Beyond that, you have 3 meters that you have to worry about. In the top left-hand corner of the screen, you have what is, I just call the Big Dipper meter, and made up of these little glowing orbs, and each time you execute a super move, you will actually deplete one of those orbs. When you deplete it totally, I believe it will sort of flash red, and you can do an instant kill move like in the anime series where it's sort of that one-touch kill. Bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you have a boost meter, and what the boost meter allows you to do is cover a lot of ground really quickly, so you can sort of jet from one end of the screen to the other, cancel out a distance advantage that your opponent might have. And you can also, if you get close enough, put together combos in the charge animation, which is pretty interesting. And then you have the aura meter, and the aura meter will basically allow you to do some of the super moves, for lack of a better word. And of course, as you do the super moves, you're going to deplete the meter up top, and ultimately allow you to get those instant kill moves. So it's a fairly intricate system. As you progress in the game, the computer makes you, or forces you really to make better use of all of that. Like I said, it's not my favorite approach to fighting games. I think, you know, a fighting game really should be about the mechanics and the dexterity of the player rather than balancing these various meters. And I've never really been that great at it in BlazBlue or in Persona 4 Arena or Guilty Gears, stuff like that. But here I think you can also have a pretty good time just sort of focusing on, you know, your abilities and your ability to pull off all of these moves. Visually, the game is really stunning. You think back to 2007, you know, this was before the art style that we were introduced to in BlazBlue on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. This was before Persona 4 Arena. Now, granted, there had been Guilty Gear games that looked really good at this point, but something about the art style was so almost so bold and grandiose here. It was really a revelation when I played it. Certainly I didn't play it right there in 2007, but in 2008 when I got my hands on it, I was taken aback. To me, no other fighting game on the PS2 looked this good, at least at the time. Now, I think King of Fighters 9, I believe it is, also looks really, really good on the system and kind of will go head-to-head with this, but at the time I was just amazed at how good the visuals looked, and it actually, you know, captured these characters so well that when I went back and actually watched some of the 80s anime, I was really surprised at how closely this series captured that style. As far as gameplay modes go, this is a fairly standard offering. You've got your arcade mode, your one-on-one local multiplayer mode, you've got a survival mode, and then you have something called a history mode where you can play these historical moments from, I'm guessing, the anime series. I don't have the Japanese language ability to confirm that, but basically click on one of these characters, one of these scenes, and you enter a final battle situation, and it tends to be a little bit more difficult than the difficulty setting that you use in, say, the arcade mode, but you know, it adds a little something, and as you win these historical moments, you unlock others, and presumably there's some bonus for playing through all of them. But that's really it, and that's okay, because the quality of the game itself and the challenge that it offers, I mean, if you turn this up to, you know, the highest difficulty setting, this is a brutal game. I mean, I can't even come close to being competitive at that difficulty. It's a great game to play with someone, you know, locally in the room, if they're into this style of game. It is really, I think, one of those hidden gems on the system as far as import games go, and I can highly, highly recommend it for the PlayStation 2. So I thank you as always for watching Game Escape, and I'll be back shortly with another video.